bit of time should be adapted to situation in Norway with the weather that is constantly changing. This is the first event of such kind at the embassy, and that's why we have just recognized that our projector which was here is not MacBook friendly. So that's why we will make this very small presentation using this computer. We will show you from the laptop directly the film. It's made in Ukrainian Resource Center, and we decided to support the initiative of this group who decided to invite to Norway several people of Ukraine, which will bring to you information about our country and the latest developments. I would like to present to you Konstantin, who is a filmmaker, and he made this documentary in Ukraine, and this film has already been presented in the United States, in Germany, and in Austria. And just quick information that the idea journalist from Ukrainian TV channel 112, and she also works with a broadcasting company, Radio Stolica. She will brief you about the development, who is dealing with volunteers movement in Ukraine, and she will present you with this information about the latest actions of volunteers and their role in this process. Our agenda for today is that first we will have some words from Svetlana, then we will watch some parts of the documentary, and the author will be able to comment, and you will be able to ask questions directly or maybe later, so it's up to you. If some episode is extremely interesting, you can ask a question. After that, we will have some coffee break for 10-15.
Rekommendere fotballgrosser. Kanskje vi skal ta med tingsene? Det er greit å se det. Eller skal jeg komme litt andre? Jeg mener at det er viktig å bruke på riktig måte ressurser i landet. Derfor er det viktig å kommunisere mellom hverandre og så ha forbindelser på alle nivåer, ikke bare på toppnivå, men vi har allerede gjort en del, og det vi har gjort frem til nå, vi har invitert en historiker til Oslo, og så har vi hatt en norsk uke i ukrainske massemedier. Og så i dag skal vi ha seminarer. Og da skulle det vært en liten klipp som ikke fungerer på Mac, så det beklager jeg. Men der kan gå på vår YouTube-kanal, og der ligger alt sammen. Og så har vi noen plans fremover, våre planer fremover. Det er å komme med flere filmer, sånn som dere får sett i dag. Men det blir film om Donbass, Tsjernobyl, og så blir det bilder om Donbass, Tsjernobyl, og så handler det om massemedier. Dette er det vi skal gjøre nå, denne uken. I morgen skal vi ha møte på Oslo sentral. På fredag på det ukrainske biblioteket, og siste mulighet til å se filmen, det er lørdag 18. april. Og da blir det på Fredshuset. Sånn ser det ut vår YouTube-kanal. Det legger ut videoer, våre egne og til de personene vi samarbeider med. Og så vi ønsker å finne flere personer som vil jobbe sammen med oss. Hjelpe oss, og vi er ganske interessert i å høre fra dere. Kanskje dere har noen prosjekter eller ideer, hvordan vi kan samarbeide, eller finne på ulike ting sammen på ulike prosjekter. Og da har vi gjort det første møtet, som vi har alt om. Så vi har planer om å etablere vår egen side, og så sende nyhetsbrev. Men foreløpig så gjør vi ikke det. Foreløpig så gjør vi det gjennom Facebook Altså jeg har satt med meg litt informasjon om når det kommer til å skje. Om dette feilutskrift, det skal komme det, så skal det få utseende.
Det her er ikke sånn med norsk-ukrainske foreninger?
Jeg ikke medlem der, men jeg selvfølgelig i kontakt med dem. Men vi har litt forskjellige mål,
Ja.
så det derfor man driver forskjellige ting og forskjellige prosjekter. Ja.
So I think that now we will go on to presentation.
So ethnic studies and so in this direction. But since July of last year, when the war began in our country, a friend of mine, very known Ukrainian film director, Sergei Lysenko, has invited me to take part in this volunteer project, because it's a volunteer project, to film the war in the East Ukraine. So we spent a lot of months in the front line, practically from Debaltseve to Mariupol, and we interviewed a lot of people from volunteer battalions and from the regular army. And I would like to show you some fragments of this future film. It's not a film, it's not a final cut, it's not a final edition, just fragments of the interviews. Because we are now in the phase of the post-production, and it will take some months more. Some words about this roadshow. I show it like that because I'm underway since January. I've been in 9 cities of the United States. It was Columbia University, it was Kennan Institute in Washington, it was Stanford University, Berkeley University, and some public libraries like in San Francisco and other cities in the United States. And then last month I shown
The trip was moving. By so doing, they stopped convoy. As a result, our soldiers were either captured or killed right away. And they were getting money for this, near $100 per person per one присядка. So she with her husband was active participants of this присядки. And now, because there is almost no place to live, even after the victory, many things must be rebuilt and reconstructed there. While Kryvyi is a pretty civilized and big town, they decided to buy apartments there. However, her actions and wishes show cynicism and lack of principles in these people. Because how you can buy a flat there where soldiers were killed with your help?
to struggle in this war. It's one of the soldiers of the right sector. It's one of the volunteers battalion who struggled then in Donetsk airport. It was in August.
I found this line next to my gate. So tell me now, is this normal, you think? In the 21st century, in a country like Ukraine? We also want Ukraine to be united. Is this normal? And this is hardly the only thing.
Is this the basement where you were hiding?
And this basement, this is exactly where we're hiding right now. It's where we sleep.
May I see it?
Of course. And this is where Vasily lives, and he has 2 kids.
Actually, they left yesterday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beds. How often do you have to hide in here? Heck, we're here down here all the time. Every day, guys. We're living down here. Andrew, don't quarrel.
Near Donetsk airport, It's really hell. I think in half a year I will have this film. This film will have 10 novels, every novel 9 minutes, and there will be sujets like this about a place, about the people, about this dialogues, things like that. Yeah.
I have a question because I work with journalists, I train journalists, and my colleague from Germany is also a professor of journalism. This is a film. It's not like an interview reportage. There are no names.
In this case, most of the fragments that you've seen, they're just fragments, and this only one, which is almost filmed, with editing and things like that.
Because you mentioned when you started that some of these people may be actually dead now, and
Maybe.
but you don't identify them with names.
In some cases, I know exactly who is dead, who is not dead. In some cases.
Because I mean, later if you want to use this as a documentary in any possible war crimes tribunal or anything that may come up in some years, you have to have names, you have to have hard facts.
It's
not tragic fates. It's always valuable, but you know, names are important.
These people don't want to call their names. They are anonymous, and they don't want to publish in any way this information. In some cases, when you speak with the soldiers, you have the nicknames of them. Not family names, not the names. Позывные, так званые, so-called позывные.
Were there many who would not like to be interviewed? Were there many who said, no, you're not famous?
Not of course, yeah. To leave this territory, it's very dangerous. And we stayed with them some days, and in the third day we made a trip to a checkpoint, and this road is a road of death. And the next subject is about this.
This is the first question.
All this territory is full of snipers.
Right in front of us, Donetsk mine is situated in so-called neutral zone. For now, everything is cool. For now. But we'll check it out now. And then a whack, all is good. And if we whack, then you'll have a very nice shot.
Angela is the name of the machine. All weapons have their family names.
Okay, take up arms. We'll drive now. Well, I can have 50 more grams for the victory.
Two more short ones.
Why do we have friends, but Russia does not? Having such friends as Venezuela, Cuba, or Korea, these are friends in misfortune. You better go and find friends in fortune. Try to do it. Why do you live in such a way?
Together.
made on our cost as a volunteer project, but post-production need more money. Yeah, it will be, as said, 10 novels, 9 minutes every novel. Yeah. Like that.
I think
Thank you.
one of the most impressive things in this film is that when you are watching Ukrainian soldiers and you know that some of them may be already killed, and again, these are the sufferings of ordinary people which had nothing to do with these military actions, and they are being suffering. That's why you can understand the situation when people over there don't care what is it, Ukraine or is it DNR, LNR, or is it Russia, because what they want is peace, and in this case it's well understood that they want to terminate this war at any cost, at any, their desire is well clear. At the same time, what is now seen is just a difference between the part which is controlled, which is Ukrainian, and the difference of those regions which are ruled by DNR and LNR. And this is that well-known principle of Ruski Mir, Russian world, and people just should compare what is there, what the Russian world brought them. And another point is that by these actions, the Russian Federation made those people who supported them most of all in Ukraine, because you may know that Crimea and Eastern Ukraine supported Russia. And right now it seems that they look like punished for their support of Russia by Russia. We can speak here about the local authorities, local governments, new local structures which were created, but at the same time, without interference of Russia, and without support of Russia, and without delivery of all these munitions, weaponry, this conflict should have stopped in a couple of weeks or 1 month or 2 months, but not going in these developments. That's why I just suggest to make a break, short break, and later we will listen about other developments.
9 different.
Yeah.
So how the balance between the soldiers, then you have the civilians, and then you have from a hospital. So what is your focus?
So, you know, our general idea was not to speak about politics, not to speak about ideology. It's to investigate what happens with the people in war. Because a lot of people, which I knew before war, they were artists, they were journalists, they were poets, etc., etc., they are now in the volunteer battalions. And the life of these people changed suddenly and completely. And I have some interviews made before war with a friend of mine who goes to the war as a volunteer, and he's a writer. Tells us how he will write military prose. And in half a year, we have an interview with him in Debaltseve before the storm in Debaltseve, and he looks absolutely different from these pictures in the beginning. And it's our aim to show what happens with the people. So we have no principle to show civilians or soldiers or things like that. All these novels are made about an event, about a person, about a place, something like that.
We are in a situation now where it's really very important to be detailed and very concrete, because there are told too many lies. And I remember that I've seen a multimedia report in German online magazine Phone, Spiegel Online, and they followed the track of Russian tank transport, and they were covered as neutral weapon transports also. And it was a really very investigative report, and finally they could show that the same tank appeared to be at several places where was a killing going on.
Yeah.
I think even in connection with the airplane that was shot down.
Boeing.
Yeah. So, but what they did was they set the time, they gave the location, they gave every detailed information that was possible available to make the lie visible. What you are doing, there's one problem. I'm very fond of talking to the ordinary people and to show in their example what's happening that is most impressive to everybody. And we all like these stories because we could all be in their shoes. But if you don't give us the names or even more context, we don't know whether they are actors. You know, that there is a problem that we can't really verify what you are telling. I believe you, I believe the people, but in that situation when we have a war going on and both sides demanding to have the true story for us, I think it's double important to give us context, because I don't know where do the people, what is the location they're speaking from. I don't know. No, it's difficult to get, I think. So I miss some context.
Because it's not, it was not our film is about it, not Ivan Ivanov or.
May I tell a few words as a journalist from Ukraine? His main aim is to show the transformation of personality, how he used to be before he faced the war, the cruelest things who could ever human being face the war. And I guess he showed this transformation as an author, as a writer, as a director, and I guess that it should be an investigative journalism. Of course, it's not
a journalism.
It's not a journalism.
What do you mean? It's investigative journalism.
I will tell you how difficult it is to work as a journalist and to tell the truth, because all channels belongs to authorities in Ukraine. To be absolutely frankly with you, and I work at a TV host on the channel which belongs to an absolute businessman, not an oligarch, not a guy from the power or so from political party. He's business and he's making business, and that is why we are trying to show the truth, what's really going on. And we have now the highest ratings, and people trust us, and people show us desperately because they have this thirst for the truth, what's really going on, all point of views, because we really cover all point of views, not following any of them, but just showing. And it's very, of course, it's another question of profit for any political power, because some want to show more than it is in reality. Some want to hide it totally in Ukrainian television. And that's why we are fighting hard. I will, maybe after the break, I will tell you about our fight, how do we fight and what do we want. Maybe you can give us advice. I'll be very, very grateful to you if you just give your vision, give us Ukrainian journalists the vision.
Programs, other programs, and in radio, I'm journalist. Here, I'm not a journalist. You know, it's a difference of this point. We understand.
For better perception.
वैसे के अंदर है ना, तो हम इनके कानून पे हैं। हम बेसिकली यूक्रेन में हैं। पता तुम्हें इस चीज़ का?
नहीं।
आप जिस मुल्क की एम्बेसी में होते हैं ना,
आवाज़ हमारी भी अंदर जाती है।
हाँ यार, ये रिकॉर्डिंग हो रही है, मेरी ये आवाज़ जा रही है, दोबारा बनाओ इसको।
Wrote this phrase, yes, that politicians have ruined the feelings of people. Their Putins will be gone, Yanukovych's, Akhmetovs, they all will be gone, but why the nation? That is what stays, unfortunately. And of course, as a journalist, you have to realize that you see this wound, you see this blood, and the blood of the soul of Ukrainian society, and this split, and you understand that your word is so precious that it's really up to your word. So many things, how this wound will be bloody again, or maybe it will get better, or maybe it will cost to recovery. And of course, what we think about now is about this council, and what we journalists want, including my TV channel. We want more representatives of civil society, experts, media experts in this body. And now we are in this process of course, communicating with this system, with this very strong system. And of course, there are some elements who is trying desperately to destabilize this system. And it's, of course, it's very tough. It's very difficult always. I really came to talk to you and to ask about your experience, about your visions, and how does these bodies, these regulators work in your countries, and whether we have any slightest chance to have that in Ukraine, and what do you think? How do you view that? And I've been thinking before we met about this cliche, the first casualty of war, everybody knows that is truth. And I think that really the first casualty of war is journalism, actually, because that's what we experience now in Ukraine. A very, very, very little percentage of real journalism now, unfortunately, because you cannot be really emotionally, separated or far away from this, because your friends, your relatives somehow are involved into this situation, and that is why we really now we have many dimensions of this problem. And actually, I will have tomorrow. Yes, we will have this big conversation.
Independent of the government. The media are independent, they have a self-regulatory system, they have their own standards, there is a press code of ethics, and the priority is investigative, independent journalism. This is the main message they will tell you. But there's a lot of goodwill in Norway now for the Ukraine, and there is official government support, and I think that will trickle down to the Journalist Association. So if you contact Thomas Spence, the Secretary General of the Norwegian Journalist Association, ask for a meeting with them. I'm sure they would be positive to start up seminars, workshops, invite you, and so on. So this is my best advice to you.
No, it's perfect. It's very, very important advice.
And it defines a limit on the ownership of media. You cannot, one media mogul, if you want, cannot own more than 33% of the newspaper market, the radio market, the TV image building vis-a-vis the EU.
Mm-hmm.
Point two is that in Norway we got a law in 2009 called the Editorial Independence Act, and it specifically says that nobody, the government or the private owner, nobody can impose on the editor what should be written in the newspaper or broadcast in television or radio. There is complete editorial independence.
But it is introduced by
for the
the
next
state.
1 year, the state will finance because
As a startup.
Yes, a startup.
For the beginning.
Exactly.
Because of human rights run by Tatiana Petronchik. So I wonder if you had contact with them, since they work with journalists especially.
I have contact with her.
Yes, that's good. And then what they face, the human rights organizations in Ukraine, is if they try to criticize the Ukrainian government about the reforms or the need to do proper investigations. It's very difficult right now because you are not seen as patriotic.
Yes.
So how do you face, or how do you deal with this problem as journalists? And one more question, how is it for you, I know that the RUSH, the Russian Union of Journalists, they have made several statements where they have urged their own members to really stick to the ethics, the journalistic ethics. So do you have contact with the Russian Union of Journalists? Are there any contacts at all with with your Russian colleagues, because I think that's also important to build trust and truth.
So whatever you say either may cause panics or may cause the things you have mentioned right now. Yes, that you will be called not very patriotic, to put it softly. Yes, so you will be either I don't know what word. Okay, let's be polite. Yes. So, but it's really my way, and what I have chosen for myself is just to talk about that. Just to talk about it. And my colleagues, it's our way. We talk about these responsibility to journalists who criticize the government. It was a parliament member from Narodny Front. It's a prime minister party, and so it was a real deal. And just because we really started to discuss it and say and call this member of parliament and ask on the air, we were calling him and just were asking what's going on, what the crazy idea is that? Can you explain us? So what for we will go to the court, into the trial, or what should we say exactly? And yes, and then he just said, excuse me, I was misunderstood. Nothing. Everything's okay. I just take it over from the parliament. It's just take it off. And so that's how we work. That's how we fight for the right to be heard. And actually, that's our main, missile. Yes. So that's what came in. And what about Russian colleagues? Well, very difficult. Even if you work with very liberal journalists and with those.
The historian and artists of Ukraine come to my program, but last time a lot of people who come from Moscow, from St. Petersburg, and they settle now in Kiev. It's a new tendency, and the people are looking for a tribune, for the possibility to speak and to struggle. It's a very new trend. Interesting. To this item of communication with the Russian media. It's informal, but there are more and more of those people in Kiev.
But talking about following up on actually looked into, nobody's been brought to trial only in a few cases and so on. So being a journalist in Russia has always been difficult, even before they took the Crimea.
Being a journalist, not a propagandist.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
A propagandist is not a journalist.
Yes. But in Russia, they believe, people, society believe that propagandists are journalists. That's disaster.
In Moscow Patriarchate, there was a representative from a Greek Catholic Church of Ukraine, and there were representative of Russian Orthodoxy, and there was a kind of fruitful discussion today's stay, and it was really an event which gave a chance to share the experience of the situation. And it might be the same when lay people go to the church. They don't need somebody on top of them just to command on the volunteer, and we're working mainly with volunteers. But right now in Ukraine, any person who has paid at least $1 to these anti-terrorist organizations is considered a volunteer. And Lyubov is representing police rescue organizations 911, where volunteering is a part of its focus. But Lyubov is trained for rescue, and before that, this 911 international chain of help, and it's an NGO. And
Рятувальник Української служби порятунку.
I'm a rescue officer of the Ukrainian Rescue Service.
Яка існує в Україні 20 років і займається плановою та оперативною діяльністю.
And this organization has been in Ukraine for the past 20 years and is doing rescue and plan activities.
З гордістю можу зазначити, що наша організація – це друга організація в світі після французького Червоного Хреста, яка була нагороджена Мальтійським орденом Іоанна Єрусалимського Софія.
I'm also very proud to say that our organization is only the second organization after the French Red Cross organization that has got this award, which is
орден, це мальтійський у спеціальному замовленні.
I have began my activities just from the patrolling on the streets and from the simple rescue operations.
Також ми проводили постійно курси спеціальної підготовки, надання першої домедичної допомоги.
And we have also given courses on how to give first aid to
постраждалим активістам під час Революції Гідності, а також проводили курси їм прямо на вулиці, в наметах, в коридорах, там, де жили мітингувальники.
After that, there's events in the east of Ukraine have happened, and there was a need for transporting medicaments and also helping these artists who wants to go there and support. So we were giving this help in transportation.
До цього часу наша країна ні з ким не воювала, і виявилося, що надання допомоги там ліквідовувати наслідки ДТП або нещасних випадків, стихійних лих дуже відрізняється від надання медичної допомоги при бойових діях. І ми вимушені були вчитися самі дуже швидко, і американців, у поляків, в Ізраїлі, де постійно йде війна, і у них є такий досвід саме в медицині поля бою, тобто тактичній медицині.
And so, as Ukraine have never been in this situation of war,